let's
All
jump right
right.
into it because the first movie you have for us today is gonna be a good one. It's Joker, Folie à Deux. At least I hope it's a good one. What do you think?
Yeah, well, okay, so I'm going to talk about this movie the way the trailers are refusing to talk about this movie.
Oh,
So, if anybody tuning in, and if you want to remain unaware of the conceit of this movie, you might want to go grab a sandwich now or something. Okay, so, but I think it's out by now. I think everybody seems to be talking about it online. But Joker of Folie à Deux, the follow up to the dark and sad and deeply unsettling Joker. I can't believe how popular that movie was. I think it made over $1 billion, and
yeah.
it was a nasty, dark movie. Anyway, are you ready for this new one, this sequel? Do you know what it is in effect?
So I saw Lady Gaga, and she was talking to,
Mm-hmm.
I was it Jimmy Kimmel? It was somebody, some late
Yeah,
night talk show host,
yeah, yeah.
and she had designed her own little Joker dress that she showed up with. She said she changed her voice, her singing voice, to
Yeah,
match the character, and that's all I know about this movie.
yeah, well, it's a musical. This movie
Mm.
is a musical. It's certainly a musical of sorts. Anyway, it's a continuation of Joker. Joaquin Phoenix is back. He's brilliant as ever. This guy is. I just think he's the greatest actor of his generation. He
Mm.
displays more layers, if that's even possible here, into his Oscar-winning character. I mean, he goes even deeper than he did in the previous Joker, and he adds all this additional nuance to the mental illness of this character of Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker. And so, yeah, it's a continuation of the first movie. It actually could have been titled "The Trial of Arthur Fleck," but it's done, Kim, in a style that was so unexpected that it actually kind of gave me a rush. I'm
Mm.
watching the movie and I'm going, "Is this what I think it is?" And I'm going, "Oh my god!" And what it is, it's the style. This is it shouldn't work, but it does. Having the two main characters in this movie, Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, played by Joaquin Phoenix, and Lady Gaga as Lee Quinzel, I think her name was. She plays a patient at Arkham State Hospital who becomes obsessed with Arthur and forms this deadly romantic relationship with him. Yeah, it's really unsettling. Anyway, they break out in song and dance to the Great American Songbook. Both of them just break out singing songs like "If My Friends Could See Me Now" from Sweet Charity, "The Carpenters' Close to You," "That's Entertainment" from The
Wow.
Bandwagon, "Gonna Build a Mountain" from Roar, "The Grease Paint," "The Smell of the Crowd," Bobby Rydell's "The Joker Is Me," Sinatra's "That's Life," Rogers and Hart's "Bewitched, Bothered, and Bewildered." Anyway,
Yeah.
and several of these songs are interspersed with these Ginger Rogers and Fred Astaire dance routines.
That's so weird.
It is weird.
Does it work because she's a mental patient? Is that what makes it so like
Well, here's the thing. It worked. It worked for me, and this movie to me was as sick and sad and disturbing as the first one. Only it's more uh, palatably sick and sad, sad and
mhm.
disturbing because of this layer of romanticism that is essentially painted over the darkness that is really at the core of this story. Yeah. Now you asked the question. Uh, Folie à deux literally means madness
Okay.
between two in French. It's a delusion or mental illness that's shared by two people in close association. So this movie tells that story too about the relationship between the Lady Gaga character and the Joker. It's really messed up and dramatizes the trial of Arthur Fleck because if you remember in the last one the Joker killed all those people in the first movie. Then he does that little dance up the steps or down the steps, I can't remember. He goes off to wherever, but in this one he's in jail and he's ready to go on trial. And boy, oh boy, the more I think about this movie, the more I absolutely love it. The style, which is so antithetical. You said, does it work? Yeah, I think it did for me.
Okay.
It's so antithetical to the film's content, and at least initially, it practically stood me on my ear. I mean, the
Mm.
style of layering a kind of classic movie lyricism slash romanticism on top of what is essentially a very dark, very tragic, and very sad story about this abused human being who becomes a monster because of his upbringing and society's reaction to him, it shouldn't work. I would have predicted that it wouldn't have worked, but damned if it doesn't. Now, others are vehemently disagreeing. The fans apparently are social media ragging all over it, but I thought it was kind of brilliant. I don't know if I would have liked the movie as much if I were unfamiliar with the songs. Mm-hmm. But I kept smiling and recognizing them. And I'm thinking, why are they singing songs from 1950s movies like The Bandwagon? But I was continually amused with what the director, Todd Phillips, who also directed the first one, I think was trying to do. He really took these big swings and big risks in deciding to tell his story this way, which emerged for me as a kind of inspired, stylized brilliance that made you look at what was really going on in this story in an unexpected and deeper kind of way. It's not for everyone, this movie. It may, but for me, it actually, I'm really thinking about it maybe being one of the best films of the year.
Wow.
And if you're looking to be completely upended in terms of expectation, you have to see it. You just have to see it.
So if you're going into it, though, expecting like your full Lady Gaga voice experience, what she said was that she altered her voice to make it match the character's raw, jagged edges.
Yeah, so, I can see. Yeah, I can see. Well, she does this a lot. Do you remember when she sang on the Oscars? I think it was the 50th anniversary of The Sound of Music. She came on and she did that medley of the
sounded like Julie Andrews,
didn't she? I mean,
yes.
I'm thinking. I remember when I think it was. I can't remember her name. The actress. She's married to the guy on SNL.
Emily Blunt.
No, not Emily Blunt.
I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. Anyway,
Scarlett Johansson.
Scarlett Johansson came out and she says, and now to sing some of our favorite things, Lady Gaga. And I remember going, oh my God, I'm going to leave the room. And then Lady Gaga opened her mouth and she was spectacular. And I'm going, where did this come from?
She's a chameleon.
Yeah. How did she know how to do that? And she does that again with this character. Yeah. I think she still kind of sounds a little like herself, but she's totally absorbed in this character. And she's terrific. I have problems with her as an actress generally, but I thought she was really good in this. And I mean, what a weird movie. But then the Joker's a weird character, and the Joker movies are weird movies. So, but anyway, if you really, I went not expecting. I just thought, it's going to be another dark story, and okay, I've girded my loins to like take this in. And then when it was doing this musical thing, I was amused. I was kind of like chuckling to myself. And then one song after another, I was recognizing, I thought, I'm really digging this for some weird reason, and don't ask me why, but I like musicals, and I've studied film musicals, and so the references were very, very astute. They really did their homework. I thought it was brilliant. What can I say?
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's I did not expect you to say that, so I'm pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Well, I didn't expect me to say it either, but yeah, there you have it.
Let's talk about Little Bites. This is a horror movie?
Yeah, this is another horror movie. Horror is becoming such a staple of a weekly movie diet. I mean, there's another one. Here's another one, a special one too. And the job today that I have, I think, in talking about this movie, because you kind of don't even realize what this movie is about, what it's really about, until well into the picture. So it's hard to talk around it, but I'm going to do so as much as possible, because it really is some sort of special horror movie, and different too, which is always nice and always welcome, especially to us who see so many movies. And the starters here, for some context, Kim, and I just loved, wait, I have it here. I just loved the one-line description I read somewhere that was so intriguing about this movie, and thought, well, I gotta see this. And that one-line description reads, and I quote, this is what they're saying the movie is about. This is what the publicists were saying, or the studios were saying. In a desperate attempt to protect her 10-year-old daughter, a young widow allows a nightmarish monster to slowly eat her alive.
Oh, God.
That's little bites in a nutshell. And the little bites, of course, refer to the munchings that the monster indulges himself on, chewing and consuming little bites, little bits of this woman's body, her arm, her leg, her back, her shoulder, her neck. And I mean, there was a scene early on in the movie, and how I could never forget this. The cannibalistic monster who you're going, where is this person? Where are they living in the house? Why does this monster have this control over this woman? He says to her, she opens the door and she's like, oh, I got to come in here. And he says to her, he goes, I'm hungry. I think I'll have the arm today, but I would prefer the leg. And you're going, okay, so that's what it's about on the surface. Underneath, it's about something much more. And that much more, we're just going to leave for now because spoilers are forbidden when talking about movies people haven't seen. But Little Bites, it's a cinematic piece with the look and sound and the feel of a movie in its visual languaging and rhythms. But it could have easily worked also as a play, which, you know, a theater piece, which kind of implies that there's something else going on here, and there is. As a horror film, too, I especially like that it had all the horror earmarks and tropes that we've come to expect from horror, but it also gives you time to breathe, which is nice to be on the receiving end of when you're watching a movie like this. But the bottom line reason I liked it, I called it special, and the reason I'm recommending it is because it's some kind of horror allegory that, let's just say, anyone who's ever raised children will totally relate to. And that's all I'm going to say about Little Bites.
Okay. Well, what you said completely grossed me out.
Yeah.
In the chat, you're getting a lot of, oh my God, no, thank you. Nope. Nope. Here it is. Rhonda's like, nope, sounds horrible. No, can't do. I mean, the premise is interesting, but the in my head, as you're describing it, I'm seeing these bites taken out of this person, and I'm so icked out by that. I don't think I could sit there and watch that and just be like, okay with it. I mean, I would turn it off or leave. That's awful.
Yeah, well, you know, it is, I was gonna say it is kind of tastefully done. It could have been. It could have been. Yeah, right. It could have been a lot. It's gross enough, but when it does its thing and it gets to the point where it wants to take the audience, it becomes, like I said, it becomes this kind of horror allegory about, well, I'll say it. It's kind of an allegory about parenting.
Okay. Like the lengths you would go to protect your child type of deal?
No. More like, yeah, well, this
I don't want you to ruin it for people.
Yeah. I was going to say, no, it's like how a parent, when they're raising a child and they love their child, are they doing the right thing? Are they like going too far? Are they not going far enough? Are they too permissive? Are they too strict? It kind of goes. I've never seen a horror movie like this before. It was actually, I was going to say it had some meat on its bones. Wow. Another bad pun, right? But it really had. It was. I liked it. But yeah, it does have an ick factor that you got to get through in order to. So yeah.
Teacher Lori says how kids suck the life out of you. Heather says like how children drain your life force.
Kinda, sorta. That's sort of hinted at some point. But yeah, I'm already saying too much. So anyway, yeah.
Oh goodness. Okay, let's move to the next one. It is called White Bird.
Yeah, this is ultimately a very strong, at times suspenseful, possibly perhaps too intense for some, family drama. This is a family drama, and it's based on a 2019 graphic novel of the same name. It's a young adult drama, World War II historical period coming of age story, and it's about a handicapped boy who, along with his parents, hides a young Jewish girl, one of his classmates, in a barn in the house where the boy and his parents live during Nazi-occupied France. It's 1942, and the Gestapo are systematically rounding up Jews throughout France and sending them off to concentration camps to be exterminated. And the movie uses a romance between the boy and the girl, basically as an entryway into the horrors of the Holocaust. And at first I'm going, oh boy, I was a bit suspicious that the film would reduce the horrors of the Holocaust to this YA romance, but thankfully it never did. It was smart. Never do they underplay or underrepresent what actually happened to Jews in Europe, here specifically in France during World War II. So the movie serves as this way of historical introduction to the Holocaust for a younger audience who may not know very much about it via this love story between these two young people. Helen Mirren is really the star of the film. She's not in the poster, but she's the star of the film. She's telling this story of the boy who saved her to her grandson, because he goes through something similar. He's in boarding school, and he goes through a similar type of thing where he's kind of shunning someone he doesn't know very much about. And so she's telling her grandson what happened to her during the war, and she represents the adult version of the girl who the boy in the film is hiding. And Mirren is, she's never anything less than great. Mm-hmm. She solidly roots the film and what we see and what we experience and what it might have looked like being in hiding, the day-to-day terror of that. Yeah. And the movie's gorgeously photographed. There's some beautiful shots of shafts of sunlight peeping through the cracks of the wood in the barn. Really great photography. And it's a good film. It's very entertaining. There's rooting interest in this boy protecting this girl from the Nazis. And in the end, what we have here is a very uplifting human drama. It's a history lesson for young people. And it's also a kind of a testament to small human acts of kindness and how those acts can stand in defiance of hate and fear, and the Third Reich. It may be a little too intense for younger kids. I don't know, but it's a very, very good film. Like I say, is an entryway point into history and really the horrors of the Holocaust. And the Nazis are appropriately dramatized and portrayed as the monsters that ideology really embraced.
Sounds like a good movie.
It is a very good movie. Yeah, I was surprised. I thought it was gonna. There's some cliches and stuff, but that's okay. I mean, that it does its job, and it does its job well, and it is ultimately very, very moving. It's a triumphant story, and you feel good at the end, but it's you have to go through a lot of what these characters go through. But it is a very good movie. Yeah.
Teacher Lori wants to know if it was a book, because she thinks she may have heard this plot before.
Well, it was my understanding was that it was based on a graphic novel, a 2019 graphic novel, which are basically thick illustrated comic books, but but with literary basis in them. Yeah. So kind of a book. Yeah, it is based on a book, sort of. Yeah.
The next one that you have for us is called The Outrun.
Yeah, new movie, a drama, opening today in theaters. This one is based on a 2016 what's been described as a nature and recovery memoir, which is actually the best way to describe this movie version of the memoir. It's about nature and it's about recovery. In this case, recovery from alcoholism. It's written and directed by a German director and screenwriter, Nora Fingscheid, and it's a very simple story, very lyrical, very evocative, very unadorned in its presentation, but also very effective and quite powerful too. It's a drama about a young woman, superbly played by Saoirse Ronan, who's in the poster there, who will probably find amongst the best actress nominees this year at awards time. Anyway, the character that she plays is recently out of rehab for alcoholism, and while she's recuperating, she goes back home to live with her parents on her father's sheep farm. Her parents are separated, but they still live close to one another. And through these interactions with her parents, we kind of get some glimpse into this young woman's past and the things that may have contributed to her alcoholic addiction. It's lushly filmed in the Orkney Islands off the north coast of Scotland.
Oh,
it's
wow.
so it's beautiful. I mean, the scenery and nature's, oh God, gorgeous. It's
Yeah.
peppered with some beautifully written narration that links nature, the beauties of nature, our relationship to nature, the cycles of nature with our human souls, really. And it's a very moving, reflective, and ruminative portrait of addiction in a scarred female psyche, which belongs alongside other very good movies about alcoholism, like Leaving Las Vegas and The Lost Weekend and The Days of Wine and Roses. Those kinds of movies. This would be, I feel comfortable putting this movie in that list of
Wow.
really good films. So I recommend it, especially if you're in a mood for a strong drama. I want to say maybe avoid it if you're depressed, but I don't know about you, Kim, but I find when I'm in a depressed state of any kind, sometimes watching a sad movie a lot of the time helps to get me out of the depression. And I think the theory behind that is,
My
and
life is better than hers.
well, yeah, partially, but like,
Yeah.
yeah, right. I don't have anything to complain about,
Right.
but there's something about, I think, when your state of mind is being acknowledged first, it then makes it easier for you to like figure out where you are, and like, well, maybe I can get myself out of this because my state of mind is being acknowledged. Sometimes some of the worst things people can say to you when you're depressed is like, oh, cheer up.
Right.
Or when they say, calm down. It's like, I don't want, it's the worst. Anyway, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But
No.
also qualification here. This is not a depressing film or necessarily a sad one. It is a serious one, though.
Yeah.
And that's what I want to emphasize. But it's a very good one, too.
Hmm.
Yeah, it opens in Bay Area theaters today. So we've got 4 good movies to choose from
Look at
this week.
you.
Yeah, anybody?
Not a negative review in the bunch.
I don't think a negative word out of my mouth this week. I'm going to enshrine this episode somewhere on my Facebook page.
Okay, let's wrap it up because you say Joker Folie à Deux gave you a rush. You said it's a musical that actually worked.
Yeah,
Sick and sad and disturbing as the last movie, but more palatable because of the romance over the darkness. And you loved this movie,
I sure
Joker.
did. Yeah, yeah.
Mm,
Mm-hmm.
the next one is giving me the heebie jeebies, but you liked it. You said it's a different kind of horror movie, and you recommend Little Bites for those that
Yes.
like the horror genre.
Yeah, for those that like their horror in little bits and bites. Yeah, literally. Oy, oy, oy. Ugh.
Whitebird, you said of this movie, this is a good film, entertaining, uplifting, great history lesson, a testament to acts of human kindness. You recommend Whitebird as well. You say that's in theaters, right?
Yes, it is. All of these are
Okay.
actually in theaters. Yeah.
And as for the Outrun, effective and powerful, you said. Beautiful scenery of Scotland, moving and reflective. Again, a Tim Sika thumbs up recommendation.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
about sizes the week up in movies, at least the ones
Look at
I've
you
seen. I mean, I'm
go.
sure there's a few that I've missed, but God, there's only so much time in a day.
I
Gosh,
know.
it's so crazy, Kim, during award season because we're literally pelted with things that we really need to see, especially if we're gonna, vote and we've seen all the nominees and stuff, but it's already starting and it's just starting to get crazy. So anyway, I know
Mm.
people are going, oh yeah, they're going, yeah, what a life. You have to see movies and you have to give your opinion on them. But it is a lot of work, I think. Well, I know it is a
Oh,
lot of work.
totally.
Yeah,
Well, and it
yeah.
also, there's something that takes somehow fun out of movies if you have to watch.
I just thought of this. Remember last week you said you were going to ask me about Megalopolis, having seeing it a second time.
Right? Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah.
I saw it a second time, and I only bring it up because it was something you just said that made me. I went to the theater. I didn't have a notepad. I didn't have anything. I just went as a moviegoer, and I just took the movie in. And it's a weird movie, but just being able to sit there and watch it and pay attention to it in a way that just any regular person that would go to see the movie would take it in. It was so much fun. The movie, I still don't know what to make of it. It seemed, whereas the first time I saw it, it seemed absolutely off the rails crazy. This time, once I got past the style of the movie, I thought, I don't know if this movie is about anything. I liked it more in the sense I was able to follow more of the plot, because there's a lot of
Sure.
things that you miss the first time, especially when you're, your eyes are going from the screen to your notepad in the
Right.
dark. But I don't know. Anyway, it's yeah. So anyway, it's fun going to movies, but when you have to review them, you really do have to work and pay attention, and
Yeah.
you do all that kind of stuff. But
Like
anyway.
anything, when you have to do it, kind of takes the magic away from it. It's
Kind
like
of, yeah.
fun. Yeah.
My sister said that to me the other day. She said,
Yeah.
because I said about some movie I saw, and she goes, "God," she goes, "I just thought, if I had to see some of these movies, I don't know if I would ever even want to do what you're doing."
Right.
So, but anyway, but
You're getting
there's a lot of perks to it, to the
Oh, I'm
job.
supposed to
Yeah.
ask you if you like Tulsa King, which I think is a streaming series. I haven't seen
Tul-
that.
Tulsa King. No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did see the Lyle and Eric Menendez series on Netflix. Have you seen
Oh,
that?
I haven't watched it.
It's very good. It's
Yeah.
and all the violence pretty much is gotten rid of in the first episode. So if you can make it through the first episode when they actually kill
Sure.
their parents, it's pretty violent. But that's the only series, and I'm kind of rewatching an Aaron Sorkin series on HBO called the Newsroom. Have you ever seen the Newsroom?
I have. I liked it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm rewatching it and I'm going, man, this is, because I remember I had to review it on
Yeah.
uh, Chip Franklin's show when we were doing Netflix and Chill.
Oh,
We did
yeah,
that for
yeah.
about a year and a half. And so
Yeah.
again, looking at it to review, you tend to sometimes miss things. I'm rewatching this. I'm going, wow, this is amazing. And I think the series concluded over 10 years ago, but it's as relevant as ever. If anything, it's more relevant than ever with the way, the media has
Hmm.
changed, and it's all about ratings and sensationalism and stuff. Anyway, I'm really rambling on this week.
No, I don't know if did I mention last week that I watched this series called Nobody Wants This?
No, I don't think you did, but I have
Yeah.
heard of the show. Is it good? I hear it's great.
I really liked it.
Really? Is it good?
It's a
Yeah.
kind of a Jewish rom-com, I guess.
Uh-huh.
Well,
Oh.
this podcaster falls in love with a rabbi. She's
Yeah.
not Jewish. He is Jewish.
Right.
But you learn so much about Judaism and about the mixing of cultures, and
Yeah,
I
yeah.
found it to be entertaining. It's called Nobody Wants This. Kristen Bell plays the lead role
Oh,
in
yeah,
this
love her.
movie.
Yeah, she's great.
Adam
Yeah.
Brody, who
Yeah,
I
Adam
hadn't
Brody.
seen much of, but he's
Yeah.
the rabbi, and
He's
so
very
it's a
good, yeah.
series on Netflix. Nobody Wants This, and I liked it.
Okay, I'll have to
Yeah.
check that out too. I'll just add it to the list. It grows
Throw it
every
on there.
day. But there you go. Okay, well,
And a Dirty Pleasure, Emily in Paris. I like that too. This new season just came out and finished. So,
Emily in Paris. Is that a
Emily in Paris.
romantic thing? I bet
Oh,
it's
you
a
haven't
romantic.
seen it from the
No,
beginning. Okay, you're
no.
probably not gonna like it. It's kind of I don't know. It's not very deep. It's very surface.
Yeah.
You
Well,
know,
I
it's
like
about
surface stuff sometimes.
fashion in Paris and American in
Ah, yeah.
Paris, and
Mhm.
this young woman and her working in Paris and her relationships that she makes in
Mhm.
Paris, and
Mhm.
so it's good. And then the third season, the question is, does she end up in Paris?
Ah,
Yeah.
so it's about
Mhm.
glamour and chic.
Glamour and
Right.
chic, and
Yeah.
it's kind of fluff, but
Yeah.
it's interesting. Yeah.
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 I need to watch more fluff, I think,
There you go.
just to clear my mental palate.
From Little
Yeah.
Bites to Emily in Paris,
To Emily
we've got
in
it all.
Paris. There you go. Yeah.
Tim Sika at the movies with you is always so much fun. And so thank you for bringing us the good stuff on Fridays.
Okay, back at you, Kim, and I will talk to you next week.
Bye, Tim.
Okay, bye-bye.